welcome back to my Scrappy Ideas. This is TinaGale, and I'm excited to be back with my second layout using the new Cocoa Vanilla Hello Lovely paper line. And if you're a subscriber, if you've been watching my channel, then the last layout was very heavily in the embellishments from the ephemera pack and the sticker sheet and stuff, and so a lot of the paper didn't show. I just had the little bit that I matted the photo. So this time I wanted to really showcase all of the different patterns. So I pulled out this darker one that had the pinks and the peachy and the teal colored to mat this photo. This photo is one of my grandfather and grandmother, and this is actually the only photo that I have of the two of them. So I'm always very envious of people that have all of these heritage photos and stuff. So I've had this one, and it's an older photo, of course. So it's got this wonderful soft tone to it, and it matches these papers wonderful. Her dress is kind of a peachy, and he's in this light blue teal colored shirt. And so I just felt like the paper that had the dark background was great to mat it on, because then the photo just popped up off of it, where if you'd matted it on the lighter colors it would have kind of sunk in. And then I wanted this light colored floral background behind it, because then it just re-pulled out all of the colors from the photo and stuff. And then I had the one that had the polka dot with all the different colors, and I'm just going to tuck in just a little bit behind. And so all I'm doing is just getting different sizes of papers. I did cut the polka dot paper into just strips because it was going to be all hidden, and I want to just like hoard this paper. I don't want to use it. I'm going to use it, but you know, I want it to go as far as I can possibly get it to go. So I matted the photo with probably about a 1/4 inch border, and then I got the light floral and made it larger so that I can kind of add embellishings to the right hand side, and then just tucking these polka dot papers in behind. And then I had this cut apart card, and I liked it because it had the large flowers, so I could kind of use it as embellishments, and then it had a place for journaling. So originally I was sitting here thinking that I might have the design go across the page vertically, or I'm sorry, horizontally. But I had these little frames from the ephemera pack that I wanted to kind of tie in to here. And so when I pulled out these other embellishments that I kind of had picked out, it wasn't really looking like what I wanted. So I'm going to end up pulling that little cut apart card away and rearrange my design. And I'm going to have it more of a diagonal design across the page from the top left down to the bottom right. And then I'll add a little cluster up to the right. So here's where I'm like, it's not really looking like what I want it to look. So I'm going to pull it over. I'm going to keep all of the background the way that it is, but I will move the embellishment with the little frame from where it's at to pull it up to the top left to kind of get more of that design going the way that I want. So here I'm just pulling out the pieces from the ephemera pack, trying to see what other pieces that I might have to play with. And that flower is the one that I had from the last layout that I colored with my distress inks, and still didn't pull it into this layout, but I will use it. So basically I'm just looking for things that are in the peach color, the blue, and then just bits of the black. And so I'll end up using that ampersand on the layout, and these wonderful bows. I just love these bows. I am so excited that I'm actually pulling them into the layout. So I used one on the last layout. This one is white with a black polka dot. So I thought that was really cute and that it would go well. Somehow it just kind of reminded me of my grandfather, and you know, you can even tell in this photo he wore his shirts buttoned all the way up to the top. He was a farmer, so he was a country boy. But somehow this little bow tie reminded me of him. So now I've pulled out those, and I'm just kind of looking around to see if there's anything else that I could use. And I was wanting some more layers of papers and different things, but the papers that I had, I really didn't see anything that was complementary, that I wasn't introducing more pinks or whatever. I really didn't want to do that. But there was this tag on the cut apart sheet that was a blue, and so that was perfect. So I cut it out and I'm going to tuck it up behind there. And so now I'm going to have to decide how the designs are going to go. And so this is where I decide, yep, that frame needs to go off to the left, and that will pull that design more diagonally. And I still love this little circle. It just has a vine, but it's done with the peach, and then the little banner piece that says wonderful. And then I had these two gray branches that I'm going to put on each side of the photos. And I'm pretty much just looking at making sure that I have repeated the colors in each one of those, because I know that design element to the top left and the one at the bottom right, those are two of my points, and then I will build that one up onto the very top of the page on the top right side. So I just want to make sure that I have enough pieces to repeat all of those colors and different sizes, and that, you know, I don't really have any like dead spots or anything. And so then there was this little banner piece that had the number 2 on it, so I thought that would work up there since there's 2 of them in the photo. And I have this little arrow that's a wood grain, and I really wanted to use it to add that kind of in, that neutral. I felt like, you know, I had a lot of the colors in and stuff, but I wanted just a little bit of neutral. And I had that larger butterfly up there that was black, but it was really too big. I wanted something smaller. That frame is my large piece, and then I had medium, so I really needed a smaller embellishment. Because down at the bottom right, you notice my tag, my ampersand, and that orange, all of those are my larger elements, so everything else is going to be smaller. So that's how I decided on that smaller butterfly. And then I'm just going to punch a hole in that tag, and then I'm inking everything with the black soot ink again. This time it's really, really light. I know on the last layout I did it because it was a black and white layout with just pink and some mint greens. So there's a little bit more black showing. This was just a hint. You could just barely see that there was any inking on it. I wanted to keep it fairly bright in the color. So I'm just getting those inked and getting everything put together. And really there's not a whole lot that I'm going to change. This little orange peachy tag, I wanted just a spot of that orange down there because I had so much up at the top. And the only thing that I'm looking at when I start doing my layers, I'm just trying to make sure that the edges of the papers, that none of them line up across. So this orange tag, I wanted it under the photo and then over the top 2 layers of paper so that it didn't end in the same spot. In the same way that I wanted the tag under the photo and under that dill, but I didn't want any of those edges lined up. And then I really wanted just a little bit more color. So I went back to that sticker sheet, and there was this scalloped blue sticker with it's got a floral print underneath. And so I felt like that was really great just to pop up underneath those other layers and then underneath that orange, and it just gave that much more dimension and stuff to my layout. Because I don't have a lot of layer. I do pop up some of the embellishments, like right here I'm pop dotting the little branches, and I'll pop dot that circle and the ampersand, but that's pretty much it. Everything else is flat to the page. So by adding lots of other papers in there, it adds a lot of the dimension. So like I said, I'm pretty much just finished up. Everything's going to stay right where it's at. And now I'm ready to do this one at the top. And these are the Amy Tan Rise and Shine washi sheets. And it had this wood grain. So like I said, that little arrow, I wanted it. And so I just tore off a piece, and I'm going to build up with it. And then it also had this orange washi tape as well. And so I'm going to layer it up in the end because I needed just a little bit more orange up there. And I'm going to apologize because I've been doing so much filming that my iPad ran out of room, and so it's going to cut off, but I'll have all the still shots. And like I said, everything's basically done here. I'm just adding in that little bits of washi behind here so that it repeats in another area. I'm going to add in some sequins that are in the peachy and the teal color just around in the different embellishment clusters, as well as adding some embroidery floss to the tag and stapling it with my little tiny stapler. And then I just added just a few little gold color shine, or actually it was the Heidi Swap color shine in the tea color. I added that around the clusters, and that's going to finish that off. I hope you enjoyed this, and be sure to click the like button if you did, and we will see you real soon. Bye.